Good afternoon and welcome to Orient Live here at the Braille Group Stadium. It's two teams who aren't in the best of form, and the O's are facing Stevenage FC this afternoon as Matt Harrold looks to build on Tuesday's fantastic draw against Colchester United. And I'm joined by the dream team of Glenn Wilkie and Andrew Butler. And of course, Andrew, it's been a while since you last been here, but hopefully we can get that first win of the season of the year. Sorry,
it feels like it's been this season, doesn't it? Hopefully, because you don't want to be talking about must-win games and all that kind of stuff quite yet, but taking on the encouragement that we would have got from Tuesday, this is such a winnable game against Stevenage, and it's just a game that we have to be getting a win from somewhere. And we've been talking about games like Colchester could have been winning that game, and games prior to that as well. But this is a game that we have to be, we really have to be winning.
And Glenn, Stevenage haven't won away since the opening day of the season. The O's obviously looking for 3 points as well. Do you expect this to be a scrappier one?
No, well, you could look at it that way. I don't think so. I think we've got too much quality for them. And then, judging the last two performances, yes, they've not been perfect, but we've looked a lot better than we had 3 games ago. And that bad run, or the bad run what we were on, we have looked much better. So I think we've got too much quality for them today. And I think that there's a belief in this squad and in this team. I think we'll get the ball down and play. There's got to be times, there's got to be moments where we'll be scrappy, for sure. This is League Two, not the Premier League, so it will be scrappy at times, but I think we've got too much quality for them today, and I fully expect to win.
Well, the O's will certainly be hoping for a win this afternoon, and Craig Clay is going to be joining us here very, very shortly. But first, let's take a look at Matty Harrold's lineup for this afternoon's game. So just the one change from that point against Colchester on Tuesday night is Lawrence Vigouroux stands fast in goal. Number 22, number 3, Connor Wood, number 6, Adam Thompson, 9, Harry Smith, number 11, Theo Archibald is that one change, and number 18, Darren Pratley is wearing the armband this afternoon. Number 19, Omar Beckles, number 20, Ruel Sotiriou, 21, Matt Young, number 34, Ethan Coleman, and number 35, George Ray. And on the subs bench for the O's this afternoon, Reece Byrne, Paul Smyth, Frank Nouble, Dan Moss, Shadrach Ogie, Hector Cipriano, and Jeff D. Tanga. So I'm glad we got all the names right this afternoon. And are you surprised by that one change, Andrew? We obviously know what Theo can do. It potentially might be serving another suspension after this afternoon's game, but he's an asset that we want out on the pitch for today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not surprised by it at all. I think he'll be able to bring that typical pace to proceedings. Obviously, we'll see what happens with that disciplinary as well. So I think it's probably just a matter of trying to get as many minutes under his belt as possible. Good to see that Ruel's getting another starting berth. You can't really drop him after his performance on Tuesday night, which was absolutely fantastic. And Harry Smith up there as well. Really hoping that he can get back on the score sheet as well. It's been a while, 7th of December, I believe, since he's got a goal. There's something about it, about being here on a day like today. It's not, the weather's not that bad as it was against on Tuesday against Colchester. Pitch is looking in decent nick as well. Now that we're here pitch side, I'm hopeful again.
I'm glad, but Andrew's mentioned the attack, but let's look at the defence, Glenn. Probably 2 goals on Tuesday night that would have been really frustrating for Matty and the staff to watch back, and I'm sure the boys were equally as gutted. That defence is going to maybe have to switch on a little bit more this afternoon.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, isn't it? It's like set pieces again. We've been saying it week after week, defending set pieces. We've got 3 centre halves technically in the back 4 today, so we've gone with that extra bit of height in there. They just need to, it's concentration levels, it's leadership on the pitch, no matter where you are, whether it's the first 10 minutes where everyone's fresher, when you get to the last sort of 15-20 minutes, that's where you need your leaders on the pitch to remind people with their jobs and to keep sort of switched on, like you say, and really go man for man and do not let your opposite number get to the ball ahead of you. We've seen it time and time again over the last couple of months, conceding. I think they've probably done a lot of work this week in sort of pushing that message across to everyone, not only the defenders on set pieces. It comes from everyone who's in that box defending, that they've got to be alive. They've got to, if you cannot win that first ball, you've got to do your utmost to put the opposition player off of getting a clean strike. You've got to get your body in, you've got to get your shoulder in without fouling. You've just got to do anything you can so they don't get a clear strike at goal.
I think that was one of the most disappointing bits of the season, and I don't know where those lapses of concentration have come in, but those 2 goals that we let in against Colchester on Tuesday night, there was something about it, especially the second one, which was so disappointing, because you can, especially when you watch it on TV, you can see the player coming in behind, I think it was Wood, and then it's just like, oh, hang on, he's got in there through on goal and scored, and it was just like, when you can see something from the stands or on TV that you think, oh, I hope that's not going to go through. Oh, it's gone through, and then they've got a goal. Those lapses of concentration, because of you cut them out of the game, and we're winning that game, and so hopefully that if you cut them out today, then we should have enough to beat Stevenage.
I said this last week when Jabbo was with us when we did the game last Saturday. As a defender, throughout the game, even if you're attacking, you've got to be paranoid. I know it sounds funny. You've got to be so paranoid. You've got to expect the unexpected, I wasn't expecting that, by the way. But you've got to expect the unexpected and overcompensate. Get behind the ball. You've got to do that. It's better to overcompensate than not, and people get through on goal and score goals. So they'll be working on that this week, and hopefully today they get it right.
Well, a clean sheet certainly would be nice. And we've got Craig Clay waiting very patiently in the wings, so we're going to get to him very shortly. But first, let's catch up with Paul Smyth, who managed to make an appearance off the bench on Tuesday night.
Paul, it's good to have you back in here, and maybe probably a bit earlier than we might have thought with the injury. First of all, just want to tell us a bit about that and kind of rehab and getting yourself to where you are now.
I mean, the best thing was that I didn't break or fracture any ribs when the lung collapsed, which kind of gave me a bit of advantage to come back sooner. If all clear with feeling no pain, then I was back as soon as possible, and it took 4 weeks, and I'm back now, and I feel good, and hoping I can start giving the team stuff that I haven't been able to, and I can start supplying goals. And
how was Tuesday night in terms of, first of all, fitness?
Sluggish a little bit. I mean, I had to sit in my bum for 2 weeks straight and do absolutely nothing. That was the words of the doctor, and it was the most frustrating thing ever, because I was watching the games and I was seeing things that I could have done and could have helped the team even more, and I just hate being out of football. But now I'm back, and I'm able to assist and help, and I feel good, and I was out training today again and feeling sharp, so hopefully I can take it into Saturday.
You might be being a bit hard on yourself, because obviously there was a bit of sharpness to win that free kick and obviously force that late equaliser as well, and great spirit from the boys.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, a couple of games ago we might have dropped the heads and get beat 2-1, but Matty's instilled a belief, and the boys want to pursue and keep fighting until the end. There's no point in giving up when you're 2-1 down and you've still got 6, 7, 20 minutes to go even, and that's what happened. Fourth official gave up 6 minutes and the boys still believed we got 1-0 up, and got the free kick at the end. And
great scenes as well. The away fans have obviously suffered a bit in terms of goals. There's not been a great deal recently, but there's a lot of relief and a lot of great scenes there.
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, some teams do go through bad patches, and that's what we're doing, and hopefully that gives us a chance to start pursuing wins and getting good results. And I got a home game against Stevenage, and hopefully we can get 3 points there and show the fans that we're actually capable of, and we've got the belief and the fight to show the fans and give them something to cheer for.
Home form throughout the season at one point had been so good, and obviously dropped off a bit recently, so if we can kind of record that first win again this weekend, it gives us real belief going into that final stretch.
Massively, yeah. I mean, the home form's the key form. At the start of the season, we've been flying, scoring goals and punishing teams. And I mean, look at Swindon came on form. We beat them 4-1, and we were comfortable in that game. And hopefully, again, we're going to do that on Saturday and just show the fans that we're actually here to fight and give them performances that we want to do. And we're not just here to quit when we're going 1-0 down. And we've got the fight and the belief to push up the table, and hopefully we can start on Saturday.
We're delighted to be joined now by Orient's midfield general, number 8, Craig Clay, and he's dearly missed out on the pitch, but thankfully we've got him here today. And Craig, first of all, of course, how is I believe it's the knee going? How's that injury?
So it was the LCL, so the ligament on the side of my knee came off, but it's going well, to be honest. I'm off the crutches now, I'm off the brace. I seen the consultant on Tuesday. That was a 6 weeks period. Now it's just a case of strengthening it, and then hopefully I'll be back on the grass in 6 weeks, but more straight line running. And
of course, I think it's fair to say that your kind of departure from the side after that injury has coincided with quite a very poor run, shall we say. It must be so hard to watch from the sidelines and from the physio room and not be able to physically affect it, but how has that been for you?
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, as a footballer, you always want to be out there doing what you can for the team. Yeah, it's been a bad run. I think that would, like you say, coincide with, say, TJ as well. I think TJ's been a massive loss. But yeah, it's a bad run. I'm hoping from the other night, the late goal, I think that can hopefully lift us now and get us a win today.
And of course, there's been some change since you have last played a game. And how's it been for you, kind of seeing those changes? How's the mood been around the training ground? What's it been like from a almost outsider's perspective?
I think the lads have. I think there's been a bit of a lift, obviously, with Matty taking over in terms of. Say Matty's a bubbly person. I think he's just trying to instill that confidence back in the lads. When you go in a rut like this, he was in a rut like this a few years ago. I'm sure many people can remember in the National League. Just when nothing's going your way, you just can't seem to do anything right. You know what I mean? Something won't drop for you, but like I say, I'm hoping that late minute equaliser the other night can be the little turn that the lads need, that little confidence booster.
On that, was it, coming in on Wednesday, was there a palpable sense of like things maybe just changing as well? Because it's arguably, I'm sure the lads probably would have said that's a game that actually we probably should have won, really. And so to get a draw out of it is good, but we need to kick on from it.
Well, I'd say if you look at it from the bigger picture, you would say going to Colchester away. You would have said it 2-3 months ago. Yeah, we're going to go there and get the 3 points. But like I say, with the run we've been on, they're scrapping, we're scrapping. You never know. Going 1-0 up, you would have thought maybe we can hold on, but again, things aren't going our way. But I'm hoping that moment that can be the defining moment where it turns our season. It just gives the lads just that little bit of confidence, because you don't become a bad player overnight. You just can't do things right when you're confident. You know what I mean? You stiffen up. They're just maybe little 5 yards pads seem a lot harder, but they're a good set of lads, a good squad. I'm just hoping that can be the turning moment. Yeah,
and how much are you involved kind of like around the training ground? Obviously you're a very experienced player, a senior pro as well, been around the club, and the club's been much richer for it as well. Are you kind of like trying to G them up as much as you can, given your situation?
Yeah, I'm doing what I can do, like in the change room before, I try and instill the confidence, give them just a little bit of a pep talk, try and help them, but yeah, it's tough. Like I say, I get in the mornings at 8:30 before the lads come in. I do my stuff, my rehab. I try and get in the change room before with them before they go out to training. I try and have lunch for them, so I'm still in and around them as much as possible. But yeah, all you can really do is just try and speak to them, tell them not to worry about things. Like, it'll drop for them, things will turn for them.
Yeah. And of course, we didn't really think we'd be saying this back in early December, but today's game against Stevenage, you're in a similar position in the league. It's a chance to get an absolutely massive 3 points and also not let a team below us get those 3 points. It must be a strange feeling to be in this position, and how big do you feel it is today?
Yeah, there's no hiding the fact that today is massive. It's a 6-pointer, like you say. I think they're a point below us. I know we've got a couple of games in hand, but that don't mean anything. We need to just make sure we do the job today, and like I say, if we can if we can start putting a bit of a gap between some teams below us, then that's obviously our aim now going forward.
And of course, finally, Craig, how is that injury shaping up? I don't think you'll be making it back this season, unfortunately.
I don't think so. I'd like to think I'll be a good healer. It's my first serious injury. I'm 29. It's the first time I've been out for a prolonged period of time. So they're telling me it was 6 months. That was the period. But in my head, if I can do as much as I can to get back sooner than that, I will. But as long as I'm coming back as the fittest I've been, the strongest I've been, ready to go for next season, that's the main aim. Well,
wish you a very, very speedy recovery, Craig. Thank you so much for joining us. And as Craig did just say, it's a massive 6-pointer today against Stevenage. And let's hear what interim manager Matt Harrold had to say ahead of the game.
Matty, dust settles on Tuesday night. What have you made of that performance looking back?
Yeah, I think we come out of it positive. I think the late goal, whatever you say, it had an effect. Look, we went ahead, great goal from Ruel, and in an ideal world, we keep it to that and we win the game. That it felt good at the time, but obviously, the reality is we haven't been used to doing it. So there's things between when we score and obviously the end of the game that we need to work on. We've worked on that today. We've looked at it today. We've analysed it. So things to work on, but a small step forward. And I think the spirit and the togetherness right till the very end was something I was so pleased about. That's something I've spoke about a lot. So I think they showed that, and I think people appreciated that.
In terms of your messaging to the players ahead of the weekend, what's been your focus?
The focus pretty much has been just learn from the little bits that we can take out of Tuesday. We'll obviously work a little bit on Stevenage tomorrow and analyse them today. So at the moment, it's just been about seeing who's available, tending to the walking wounded a little bit, and then we'll crack on with that. But obviously, it's another game. It's a game we want to win. It's a game I think they're the closest team to us in terms of location, so it should be a good away following. And I'd ask obviously our fans to come in good voice, support the boys, and I think it's one that we need to attack, be on the front foot.
Hopefully that man can pick up his first 3 points of this interim tenure. And let's take a look back at today's team, Andrew, and see where maybe the O's can get some joy this afternoon, because we obviously did have some joy on Tuesday night, aside from the defensive kind of errors that were there. But where do you think the O's can continue their form from Tuesday?
Well, I mean, I think that was probably one of Ruel's best games in an Orient shirt for a while. Obviously, it goes without saying what a phenomenal goal it was. But his running and his positivity and kind of, I always get this sense with Ruel that if he knows he can beat his man within the first 10 minutes, then he'll have a lot of joy over the course of the game. And then sometimes when it just doesn't go for him, he finds himself a little bit lost from time to time. But it was a brilliant performance from him on Tuesday night, and him getting another go at it again today. I think hopefully the crowd will help lift him as well. So getting a goal for him will be very, very useful. Of course, obviously we've mentioned that Theo back in the team as well. That's good to see too. And then Ethan Coleman as well. Him starting as well, getting that much needed goal at the end of the game, and the assist as well for Ruel. I know that a goal as spectacular as Ruel, you don't kind of. You don't talk about the assist, the person who made the assist that much, but it was nice to see him getting on the goal sheet and getting an assist on Tuesday night.
Well, let's pick up on the two players that you've singled out there, Ethan Coleman and Ruel Sterry. We've got some clips from their performance on Tuesday night. Let's stick with Ruel for a moment, because he did have an exciting game against Colchester. The lad hasn't had more than 4 starts consecutively under any manager since he broke through into the squad. If he could get that run, how important a player could he be? We're seeing the danger he caused Colchester on Tuesday night.
Yeah, you look at these clips now on screen, and he's very good at carrying the ball. He's unexpected. He does drag backs. He likes to get shot off. He's a goal scorer. He wants to shoot whenever he can. So we get him on the ball. He does really, really well. With him, he needs love. If the manager's showing him love and gets his arm around him and he feels wanted, he will put in a performance out on the pitch. We moved on here to Coleman on Tuesday night. He was very important. He broke the play up. He kept the play simple. He passed to an Orient shirt, and he always did look to pass the ball forward when he could, And there we go. Look, there's a ball there. He's always looking for that forward pass, and we need runners making them runs. We've been too sort of static up front at times, but now there's a belief in this team, and the players seem to sort of been given a new lease of life a bit, especially the forward players. And with Paul Smyth coming back into the team, yes, he's on the bench today, but when he does get off the bench, he's lively. We know what he's like on the ball. He draws fouls in important sort of areas of the pitch. Tuesday night was exactly that. We got good quality crossing. With the ball popped down to Coleman. Coleman gets on the end of it right at the end of the game. So I would say Coleman, Smith and Ruel today, very, very important for us to go and win this game. Yes, Smith, we know he's on the bench, but we've got to manage his injuries, and we can't throw him straight back in too early. I think the physios have said as much, I think they'll be really, really key today, but I just think there's a belief back within this team, and they're enjoying playing football again. I know it seems silly, we haven't won for a while, but they look like they're enjoying being together as a team. You're seeing players. I saw certainly Big Smith on Tuesday night in the second half. Without the ball, his running off the ball was a lot more. He was a lot more mobile, and his work rate for the team was a lot more than I'd seen it in previous weeks. So they look like they're fighting for each other. They don't want to be in a position in the table what they're in currently, and they're working hard. So I do believe today is the first big win.
And those 2 goals on Tuesday night, they were so massive considering how long we'd gone without a goal. And particularly for Ethan Coleman, he's had a few bright performances in an O's shirt, not in the best run of form as a team. But that goal could be massive for him, and those goals are massive for the side as well. Not letting the heads drop if we threw away a lead and we came away with nothing. Those goals were massive, weren't they, Andrew?
Yeah, of course. And look, I don't think no one can be, enjoying the position that we've now found ourselves in. It's not that enjoyable to think, oh no, wasn't so much a point gained. It was actually restricting Colchester from getting all 3 points as well on Tuesday. And it's not a position that any of us really expected or obviously want to be in either. But it's a massive point really when all's said and done, because it just gets us back, and that little bit of confidence, as Craig was saying, that bit of confidence back in the team. And coming back here to the Brer Group Stadium will be an interesting one, because we lost the 3 in a row without scoring as well here. I think probably some people coming here are expecting maybe more of the same, but after Tuesday, now that hopefully will have turned that tide slightly, because it's been a while since we scored 2 goals. And,
what I loved about Tuesday's performance is we've seen in previous weeks when the old manager was here, when we went a goal behind, everyone's heads dropped, and the body language on the pitch was like really, really not good. We went behind, yes, unfortunately on Tuesday night, but the fight and the spirit within the side was there. It was something we've been missing for a while, and to get back in the game and grab the point right at the end was massive for this team, and it will give them a lot more belief.
And it wasn't even just like the goal itself. There was we lifted ourselves after we went behind, and we had a couple of attacks. And I think previously we wouldn't have been in that position. We would have gone, oh well, we're ahead and now we're behind, and we'll lose this game. And so it was just really nice to see, because it came the goal itself came from a promising attack, and Smyth gets taken out on the edge of the area, and the goal eventually comes from that. So it was really good to see. It kind of shows a bit of resilience that I think we all knew was there, but we just hadn't been able to show it for a while.
Well, it is, of course, another local side that travelled to E10 this afternoon, and it's the team who aren't in the best of form, so hopefully the O can pick up maximum points this afternoon. And let's take a look at Stevenage FC's starting 11 for this afternoon's game. So for Stevenage, number 1, Christy Pym. Number 2, Luther James Wilding. Number 5, XO Scott Cuthbert. Number 6, Luke Prosser. 7, Elliot List. 8, Jake Taylor. 9, Luke Norris. 11, Zane Westbrook. Number 15, Terence Van Kooten. Number 16, Ed Upson. And number 18, Luke O'Neill. And on the bench for Borough this afternoon, Walker, Carter, Andre, Lyons, Reid, and Clements. So there is the Stevenage line-up, and I think it's fair to say, looking on paper, this is a game that the O's should be looking to take full points off. They've not had a fantastic season, Andrew, and not been in the best of form either.
No, not at all. And you don't want to kind of go through their entire team and say, well, I think man for man we're better than them. But they've got a couple of players that will cause us some problems. But realistically, they're in a poor run of form for a reason, losing 2-0 to Port Vale in midweek, and then before that losing 4-0 at home to Bristol Rovers, who they came in and beat us here as well only a couple of weeks ago. But still, 4-0 at home is not a pretty sight for any team. So hopefully we can just use this one as being like the game that we make our mark and say, look, this is the one that turns it around for us.
And Paul Tisdale joined them in late November after they sacked Alex Ravel. They've won a handful of games since, I think only 3 or 4, and they had a bit of a bounce. But is this a game where the O's need to be looking to pounce and go for that attack and go all out?
100%. After Tuesday night, getting a point right in the last minute. We've said about the belief in the squad. They look focused. We're watching them warm up. When you had Craig Clay on, I'd had a look at our forwards doing some shooting practice. They look sharp. They look on it today. The balls were flying in the bottom corners, the top corners. They wasn't missing the target. They look sharp. Our forwards do. All right, we've not scored many goals, but judging what I've just seen in the warm up, they look very, very good. So if we can get the ball up to our front players early enough, let them do the work. From that warm-up, they look very sharp. I think we'll get goals, and I think if we get an early goal today, I think we will go on to score 3 or 4.
And obviously all Orient fans are familiar with the name Scott Cuthbert, such a fantastic player for the O's. We know the type of defender he is. Apart from Ruel, our strikers haven't had much joy in recent weeks. You feel that's going to be a battle and trying to get some joy over Scotty Cuthbert?
It will be a battle, that's for sure. We mentioned Harry Smith earlier. He hasn't scored since 7th of December. Been on a poor run of form, and especially considering his start of the season, he won't be happy with not scoring since December. And hopefully, that will probably be one of the big matchups. Like 2 big lads going up against each other will be will be an interesting thing to see. And if Smith can get the better of Cuthbert, then it should be happy days for us.
And Craig said it himself. It's a 6-pointer, but just how big is it for the O's to get a result against this Stevenage side? They're one of the few teams below us. Yes, we've got games in hand, but 3 points today could give us a really crucial bit of breathing space and hopefully something to build on for the rest of the season.
Oh, 100%. It takes that little bit of pressure off you. They do not want to be in this position in the league. After the promising start we've had, it's not been going right. I think today, like I've said, I think we'll win today. It just gives us that bit of breathing space. There's nothing like going onto a pitch, having not won for so long, is it 11, 12 games now, whatever it is, and having that pressure on you, especially when you're sort of looking over your shoulder that you're very, very close to that drop zone. I don't think we've got anything to worry about, touch wood. I can see a convincing win today, providing we get an early goal.
I mean, it is in the distant memory somewhat, but we've seen what the O's can do on the pitch here in E10, and we know how they can play. A lot of the same players are still here. How do we get back to that, Andrew? I know if you knew the answer, you'd be a millionaire. But how do we get back to that?
If I knew the answer, I'd be manager. No. I mean, so much of the early season came down to confidence, and you could tell that. It was just like that game against Swindon was like you were really, really tricky first half, and then as soon as we got that confidence of scoring that second goal, the goals came flooding. Similarly against Tranmere in the FA Cup, similarly against Hartlepool earlier on in the season here as well, and Oldham when we were scoring goals for fun. It's really, really puzzling. And it's something that I think is puzzling a lot of fans who've watched every game this season. It's just like, how have we dropped off as much as we have, considering more or less we've got the same team, and obviously there's been a few players come in and out. Of course, someone like Craig Clay and Tom James, as he mentioned, is going to make a big impact. But I mentioned that right where as soon as they got injured, that's something that the club just has to deal with, and any managers have to deal with. So I think the confidence is a big issue, and Tuesday night's last minute draw, I think just instills that confidence that. Yeah, we're still a good team. We still can get results from positions that when we're falling behind, and hopefully we'll just go off on the front foot today and out of the blocks and come flying.
Well, kickoff is just a few minutes away, and of course don't forget, if you're watching along live on our YouTube stream, thank you for watching, but do head over to the Orient website, and if you're an international fan, you can purchase a match pass to watch the game, and if you're a UK fan, you can get your audio pass to listen on with Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock. But now let's look at the subs bench very quickly before the teams come out. Jeff Tanga came on, had a bright debut for the O's. Paul Smyth's on the bench as well. There could be some great options for the O's.
Yeah, definitely. Paul Smyth, we know Matt Harrold said this week he's got a stardust quality about him. I said this previously. When he's fit, he potentially is the best player in this division. So if we can keep him fit, get him on the pitch, especially today, obviously he is fit, get him on the pitch if needed. He'll come on and he'll unlock their defence. He carries the ball. He's got such a lovely way about him. He's graceful on the pitch. He's tenacious. He calls havoc for any defence. And if we're needing a goal, which I don't think we will be, he's a perfect man to bring on.
Well, hopefully it won't have to come to that. But both sets of players are now out on the hallowed turf of Brisbane Road. So it's time to pass over to our match commentary team of Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
It's a massive game at the Bayek Group Stadium, Brisbane Road. Welcome along. Alongside me is Matt Hiscock. And Matt, how are your nerves?
Well, look, there's a lot of work ahead, isn't it? I think irrespective